Ariel Helwani post-fight at UFC 127 alongside Brian Ebersole, who defeated Chris Lytle tonight in his very first UFC fight. And Brian, congratulations. You got this fight on short notice. You're fighting a tough guy like Chris Lytle. You're fighting in Australia, where you live now. Can you describe the emotions going through your body right now?
Absolutely amazing. It's one of the first fights I can say that everybody I've known is watching at the same time. Most of my fights in obscurity in the US or Australia, where you can't get a fight tape from a promoter. Most of them aren't on TV. So to know that I got people in South Africa, England, back home in the US, and my friends and family here in Australia, all at once, one big moment connected, cosmic, beautiful.
You know, we see a lot of guys make their debuts and they don't look like themselves. They seem a little tentative, a little nervous. You didn't seem that way. You in fact threw a cartwheel kick in the opening moments of the fight. How comfortable were you? I mean, did this just feel like a normal fight for you?
I don't get hit very often. That's probably fight 76 all up as a professional. And I've only had about 4 black eyes. So in the end, the nerves really aren't with getting hit. The nerves are fatiguing, getting tired, and not putting on my best performance. But the cartwheel, I had to throw it early. I knew Chris wouldn't take me down even if I ended up on the ground with it, which I did in the second round. And he just looked at me, so I jumped back up as quick as I could to make sure I didn't induce him into a takedown, because I didn't really want to be down there. But yeah, no major nerves. Biggest thing, again, conditioning on 2 weeks' notice. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't in the best of shape. I was supposed to fight February 19 a week ago against an opponent that I would have ran through. All due respect, Lee Allwood, but yeah, it would have been a bad day for him. And I wasn't really gearing up for a big fight until April 30th, so I had 6 weeks of kettlebells and sprints and all that. I haven't sprinted, I haven't done anything like that in the last couple of weeks. So this was just me being kind of in, veteran fight mode.
At what point did you start to feel that? At what point in the fight did you say, I'm getting a little tired here?
I never really got tired, but somewhere in the second round I knew that I wasn't going to be able to throw 3 fast enough to be comfortable. So I wanted to throw 1, 2, change levels and play. And to be quite honest, he throws such big punches and you see him drop for the uppercuts. I knew I could read him and see what he was doing, so there's no reason to really mix up past, the first, second, and third beat. Like I said, on number 2, I should be touching him instead of sitting out here in the pocket trying to punch. So I just played a smart game plan and made sure I got the win tonight.
Did he seriously hurt you at any point?
No, he threw 1 good kick that ran through my forearm pretty well. Across, so that was really the only bump that I got. My mouthpiece fell out, just me being lazy, and in the clinch working with him, but yeah.
You seemed to hurt him bad in the second round with that knee, and he's never been stopped via punches or via submission in a fight, only due to cuts. How tough is he to actually finish? I mean, that was a pretty vicious knee.
I wanted my bonus, I'm telling you what. I thought I had him. He started sitting up against the cage. I was hoping to pin his head against the cage and throw knees to his chest and body, but he wrestled well enough and kept pressure. I couldn't do it. When he threw his head back down to the single leg, I threw on the Bravo Darce choke. Thought I was going to get him there again, but he backed himself against the cage where I couldn't get comfortable with my arms. I couldn't tilt him over, and man, his awareness never goes. He was never out of the fight, never looking for a way out. He just kept pushing.
We saw a very bad judge's decision, at least in my opinion, earlier in the night with Fukuda and Ring. Were you at all nervous prior to the judges announcing, their final scores, that you might not win this fight?
After the knockdown in the second round, I figured I had a big, easy round that round. The third round, a little bit nervous because I did go on bottom halfway on purpose. He had a decent guillotine going, and it was more for the purpose of position. But when he inverted it, went upside down, it started to get a bit tight, and I couldn't take a chance. With him locking his legs around me, so I had to give him position. And knowing that I spent about a minute maybe on bottom, yeah, I was a little bit nervous because, again, he came forward with punches, but I did a lot of good work against the cage, a lot of good knees, a lot of good elbows, and shoulder strikes. And, I pinned him against the cage pretty well with the forearms and really made him uncomfortable. So really what I want to do is just show, obviously, that I was in control. Like I said, yeah, I know a forearm in the throat's not a lot, but 20 or 30 seconds, that takes a bit out of you. And if he can't move from there, obviously I've got him pinned up. So I was hoping the judges saw that at least I was doing what I wanted to do. Maybe not the most effective or the flashiest moves, but that I was in control. So when I heard the 30-27, I knew I won the fight.
You fought on every stage in MMA. How do those stages compare to UFC 1?
They don't. This is it. The treatment we've had as far as coming in, the hotel, the media. I've done interviews. It's no different, but doing 4 or 5 interviews in a day. Quite a different story. But just to know everything's sorted. You got doctors, you got paychecks, you got, you know, people around you that are professionals at what they do. It's much different than going to a show where the promoter is also the announcer, also the judge, and also the referee.
Yeah. Talk to us about the chest hair. What was the inspiration behind that?
About 2, maybe 3 years ago, I fought a kickboxer. He was coming from Phuket, Thailand, via South Africa. And I saw him wrestle on YouTube as a blue belt in a tournament, and I just shook my head and said, oh, he's going to be in for a rough one. So the pre-fight kind of thing came up with the arrow, and I left a little goatee as a marker for him, saying, you have to hit me in the chin to beat me because you have no hope on the ground. And I kind of stuck with it. My next fight was Hector Lombard, so I kind of did the same thing but in reverse to be a bit subtle with Hector. Not the brightest guy all the time and a bit of a raging bull. So I actually left the outside bit nice and hairy, and I shaved this out. So it was a bit more of a subtle arrow. Hector couldn't find my chin, and I've kind of stuck with it since then. You know, there's a line in Lord of the Rings where the 2 little hobbits were in the forest, and they said, oh, take us, you know, toward Mordor. Maybe being closer to the danger is actually a way to keep us safe. So I kind of give them the big clue, and for some reason they still can't find the chin.
Anyone you want next?
No, man. Everybody at welterweight in the UFC right now is tough. And to be honest, I haven't looked at the roster and even tried to do a matchup. When I got the call for this one, my biggest concern was Fitch not being hurt. You know, friend, we moved to California very close to each other, did our recruiting trip together, and that was the biggest thing, saying, oh, I hope I'm not fighting BJ, only because I didn't want it to be Fitch, you know, obviously with an injury. When I found out it was Lytle, I figured, oh, it's a good matchup for me, and an absolute honor to fight a samurai warrior like him. He's an absolute animal. But as far as what's next, I don't know. We'll have to talk.
Okay, final question. You talked to us in the pre-fight interview about your long and strange journey to get to this point, all the ups and downs. I mean, at this point, obviously you have so much more work to do, but can you sit back and say, I finally made it after 10 years, after all those ups and downs, after moving here? It's got to feel like this is like you're on cloud 9, right?
Absolutely. I mean, all these years, you know, I think people back home wondering what the hell I'm doing. So to finally make it, yeah, kind of cool. Mom, Dad, yeah, made it.
Emotional, right?
Oh, quite. You know, all these people come up to you on the street. Oh, you're a fighter. Where do you fight? Are you a UFC guy? And you say no. You know, Gilbert Melendez is the same way. He's top 5 in the world, and he has to answer the same question. Say, no, I don't fight for the UFC. People scoff at him. You know, it's like, are you kidding me? Some of the best guys in the world haven't fought here yet, and they get a bit teased or looked down on for claiming to be a fighter. So yeah, it's finally nice to be able to go, as a matter of fact, yes. Yes, I am.
Well, Brian, a fantastic win. Congratulations on your first win in the Octagon. We can't wait to see what's next for you.
Cool. Thank you.